Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Writers Infusion. I'm your host, Susan. I'm here with Ed, Julie, Matt, Jen, and Dave. Matt was on one of our earlier shows, and he's a screenplay expert, so we asked him to join us today because we are critiquing a screenplay today, and we wanted
And the title of his piece was Blow Torture, so it's episode, I don't remember the number, but you can go back and look.
But you can go back and look.
Yes.
Okay, very good point.
Soon to be a major motion picture.
That's
Soon to
right.
be
Yeah.
a major motion picture.
A scary
Keep
one.
an eye out for
That's
it,
right.
yeah.
So in this one, we'll get started right away. This is a screenplay excerpt adapted by Carly Greenberg from the novel Go. Go was written by John Cleland Holmes. And when you download the pages to follow along with us, there's a lengthy description of what's behind that, so you can read that as well. All I'm going to say is that Go revolves around a group of young friends and acquaintances living in Manhattan in the early 1950s. We're each going to play a part to try to make it a little bit easier for you to follow along with us. So, Dave will start with reading the stage pieces.
Okay, this is Act 2, Children in the Market, Scene 1. Lights rise on an off-white hallway, a small section of downstage left. Hobbs stands behind Catherine, with his hands bracing her shoulders. Catherine pays no attention to him and fumbles through her purse for a cigarette, accidentally knocking over the contents of her bag.
How you dragged me out to Ozone Park on a Tuesday night, I'll never know.
Hobbs moves to pick up dropped items.
Stop.
Bends down to put items back into her purse. She finds the pack of cigarettes and lights one while still kneeling.
You really should try to get up at 6 sometime. Might put life into perspective.
Dear, I didn't mean to bring you out here with any poor intentions, but you haven't been out with me in a month. The others are starting to think I'm back on the market.
Are they?
It was just a joke, dear.
All right, just open the door.
Stands up.
Remember, this is a quick visit, not another late-night fiasco.
Of course.
Raps on a black door 3 times, one beat, past the neck, swings open the door with a cigar hanging out the side of his mouth.
Well, look who it is.
Pulls Hobbs into an embrace, noticing Catherine,
And a cameo this evening, alive and in the flesh.
pecks Catherine on the cheek,
But lovely as always.
attempts to hide a blush.
Come on in, I have someone very special for you to meet.
Interior, Pasternak's dining area. The group walks stage right as dim lights brighten to reveal a small table with folding chairs. A small floor lamp is placed awkwardly next to an icebox. Hart Kennedy, a man with wiry red-toned hair and a crooked nose, is hunched forward while drumming his hands on the table, stomping periodically to swig his beer. Next to him is Dinah, a slim, pale teenager with doe eyes. She timidly picks at the large wedge of bread, forming a small pile of scraps.
Hart, look, hear what I found.
Pasternak leads Hobbs and Catherine to the table. They pause before sitting in 2 empty chairs, clearly fixated on the strange activity of Hart and Dinah. Kennedy abruptly stops drumming at the table, a beat. He slowly leans forward, staring at Hobbs and Catherine. The couple is clearly uncomfortable. Hobbs forces a cough.
You must be Hobbs.
Slowly resumes drumming his fingers on the table.
Yes, that's it, Hobbs. Couldn't be anyone else. You don't want to know the things I've heard about you, do you?
Only positive details, I would hope.
Only the most positive details. You bet your bottom dollar it's the 100% God's honest truth. Besides, anyone close with this guy
Grabs Pasternak by the waist. Pasternak chuckles.
is doing something right. You're a writer?
Yes, fiction mostly, and my wife Catherine.
Your wife?
Dramatically clutches his chest.
Oh, God, my heart.
Dinah, chunks of bread she pulls become noticeably larger.
Pleased to meet you, my dear.
Turns to Pasternak.
Say, you got any more beers? Dinah checked the icebox twice.
3 times?
And nothing but crickets.
You gonna save any for Hobbs and Catherine, my man? I'm sure my ma left me some cash somewhere and I can make a run.
I shouldn't drink. I have to be up at 6 for work.
Work. Dinah, you hear that? What an idea.
Grabs the remainder of bread from Dinah's hand, slamming it on the table with a smirk.
Well, don't forget your manners now.
To Hobbs and Catherine.
She's a bit shy.
Catherine, noticing Dinah's timidity,
I'm Catherine.
reaches her hand across the table with a worried smile.
My name is Dinah.
Nice to meet you, Dinah.
Wonderful, just what I like to see, friends meeting friends.
Dinah, you came from California too?
Yes, Hart brought me. We were meant to stay with Pasternak, but I think we're staying with someone named Stansky, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Picks up the bread.
Stavsky?
Why on earth are you staying with him?
Unfortunately, Mama was not too keen on long-term visitors. Plus, look around, sweet Catherine. I'd never stuffed my love and his lover in a walk-in closet. There's no room. But once the script gets flipped, ha, well.
Oh, but it's all fine. We're shacked up on a little cot in the living room like a regular Tracy and Hepburn. Just peaches.
Ain't she sweet?
2 years in the making, this one.
You two are married?
Under her breath.
15.
Sweet little something she is. Oh, my. Yes, she is. Oh, yes. Cross the road with this dream in my head and girl in my hands, and we're in it.
What brings you to New York?
People, dirt, newsstands, all of it. I'm meant to be a writer, Pasternak says, but I'm really here because I can jive with it. He mentioned you could show me the next great American novel and how to throw some words on a page and bow. I'd really dig that, you know.
You still a whiskey man, Hobbs? I know you can take the McKenna Hart, but we don't want to kill sweet Hobbs over here.
Retrieves a bottle of whiskey and 3 glasses from the cabinet.
I suppose I could.
And none for you, Catherine. One for Hart, Hobbs, and me, all right.
Sets down the glasses on the table.
You don't drink, Dinah?
Shakes her head.
No.
Beat.
2 years ago, I was a lush and drank about a quart a day. I even tried to kill myself once.
Looking down.
But Hart's looking after me now.
Her mother, that absolute bee. How could I not take her away? Wanted her to settle down to some Johnny Square, am I right?
Sits down.
Right.
Reaches into his shirt pocket and removes a bag of marijuana and rolling papers. He proceeds to roll a joint on the table.
She'll be dead one day, yes sirree.
Reaches over to grab a lighter on Dinah's lap. Hobbs and Catherine stare in surprise. With a joint in his mouth.
Right in the grando.
Looking at Catherine and Hobbs.
You smoke?
Well, I did after I was discharged, but that was only once and quite a while ago, and Catherine hasn't.
I have work.
Come on, Catherine, give it a go. It might take the edge off a bit. Besides, the stuff's from California, the creme de la creme.
It's swell.
A virgin, a real honest virgin who works. What a place New York is. Hee-ho-ha.
Catherine eyeing the joint and then the group.
Maybe it's not such a bad idea, dear. Pasternak could be right.
It's nothing like drink. You'll just get a little lift is all.
But no pressure, of course.
What are you, a keeper? Let the woman live a little.
Finishes rolling the joint, lights it, hands it to Catherine.
Ladies first.
Catherine nervously looking around at the group. Exhales.
I suppose it has been a long couple of weeks at work.
Inhales.
That's it. That's right. Right. Yes. You got it.
Laughs, mouthing to Dinah.
Isn't she great? What a keeper.
Catherine coughs violently and hands the joint to Kennedy, who inhales. Hobbs puts Catherine on the back.
You all right, Catherine?
Catherine shakes her head.
She'll be fine. It's just a spot of tea.
Hands Catherine a glass of water.
Ha! A spot of tea. You are the true gentleman, Pasternak. I should be taking notes. Better yet, I should have my secretary do her job. Oh, Dinah.
Inhaling more of the joint, passes it to Dinah.
But you can't have a scribe with a stiff hand. No.
Dinah proceeds to smoke a large quantity. Kennedy slamming his hand on the table, wildly grinning.
Yes, that's it, baby. That's right. Go.
Dinah passes the joint around the circle and everyone smokes, including Catherine. Lights slowly fade to a magenta tint. Pasternak leaning back with eyes closed.
You know, I wish we had some...
Benjamin de Vigne's Nostra Riva begins to play.
Ah, that is nice.
It's like we should always say, if you can dream it, it can be done.
They laugh. Hobbs to Catherine.
How did they...
Catherine shrugs, begins to stare at her hands.
Kennedy, say, you know what I see when I see in you? It's that bop. You look like Bop.
You don't say.
Feels. You look like a tune out of one of Charlie Parker's notepads.
He's pure
character.
Hobbs jittery, pointing to the joint.
What was in that?
It's a little crossover, my man. Man, it's my treat.
pulls a vial of ground Benzedrine out of his pocket.
Always my little treat.
Light deepens to violet.
That was fun to read.
We should do more of these.
Yeah, let me roll the paper.
Wait, fade to black and
I'm such a dull character, though, my gosh.
no, it's lovely.
Square.
I think I
square.
did the
Square.
really
You're square.
well.
I'm
Hans
Johnny
is the main
Square.
character.
I love that phrase,
It's just
Johnny
not-
Square.
Now, let me start by saying, these characters are completely unredeemable.
Oh,
None of them have any, I hope they crawl out of this hole.
Hey, I work.
I know you do.
And I was forced to take a
deserve
hit. I was
it.
forced to take a
you had
hit.
a hard week,
kid.
Catherine.
That's right.
But what are they doing? I mean, it's so aimless, this whole thing. That was the Beat Generation, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know why there would be an entire play about the Beat Generation unless somebody could work their way out of this morass of delusion. They're delusional, the whole group of them are delusional. And later on, because I did read on by accident, you find out that Pasternak has sabotaged the entire group.
Oh, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry. Oh, wow. I'm feeling personally responsible.
You are
for the
responsible. Well, they
sabotage.
got the most, he stuck some Benzedrine in there, and then he takes advantage of the young girl. I mean, that's the only thing that comes out of this first scene. It's not incomplete. This is incomplete what we read. We should have read to the end of the scene where
Yes.
everybody's laid out on the floor, and he's helping this young girl into the other room.
Nice. I think she's doing an adaptation of a story.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
think
just
in
to go by
terms
the
of,
novel.
when you're looking at it and you're looking at the stage direction and how everyone, I can perfectly picture it. I think
Oh,
she did a
absolutely.
really
Oh,
good
yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And
So
if I
even though
could
we're
just-
saying whether or not we like the story itself that you adapted, I think you did a really good job adapting it.
Right.
And I did do, because I was trying to figure out how this fit into the larger story, and obviously I didn't have time to read the book, but I just did a little research on the book, and the book is about, kind of like a guy, Johnny Square, I think as you said, portrays an urgent quest for new experience and a thirst for meaning among a young group of writers and poets in Manhattan in the early 1950s. And it basically goes on to say, and it spirals out of control.
Right.
And then it could almost cost him his marriage. It almost is letting people die. And so that's kind of what the story's about. So now that I knew that, then I could kind of put the scene. Oh, this is the beginning of the downward spiral. They come in Johnny Square,
It's a slippery slope.
and then these people slipped on something.
Yeah.
So this is a chronic problem with you. You have to know where you're going, where I am the horse. I am led around and I don't need, as long as I'm pleasantly amused along the way, I'll stay with it. These people are revolting.
And it's supposed to be. So
Oh, absolutely. Oh, she did a great job of capturing
Yeah.
revolting.
I
I don't
think-
know if I want to spend a lot of time reading revolting.
Yeah, I think the way that she brings out character through dialogue is
Works.
really good.
Kennedy was great.
Because,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kennedy was
It's
great.
You know,
like-
you can tell what people are like by the kinds of things that they're saying. And half the things that come out of Kennedy's mouth, I have no idea what they mean.
Yeah, I
It
think
works well, though,
Great job,
Sense,
Kennedy.
though,
And,
of,
Yeah.
Great job reading.
Yeah, I loved the dialogue for Kennedy.
Well, wait for the next, if you want to read this next scene, the bull goes 20 times worse.
Yeah,
They're pretentious, they're making these grandiose statements about very important but useless information, and they're trying to, it's a pissing contest, they're trying to outdo each other with crap. And I'm saying to myself, I don't think I would sit at intermission, I'd leave, because I've done that at other places.
So now how
Because
so if
you
we-
don't.
but
I
if
don't
we-
like the
right,
people.
because you don't. So how do we help her? What do we want to tell
Well,
the
I
writer?
don't know
She
that
may have
that's,
captured it.
yeah, like, I don't know
It's
that
in the
that's
book, then
a.
If it's authentic to the
Right.
story.
Right, if it's authentic to the story, so,
That's right.
I just give you, my husband likes this one show, and it's about this guy who's just not likable, but the story's fantastic, but I hate this guy, so I won't watch it. It doesn't mean the writing's bad, the writing's fantastic, but I don't like him, and I'm not gonna spend my
Is
time with
that
him.
Louis C.K.?
No, it's Breaking Bad is, it's What About Saul? So
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
So, and he loves it, and everyone loves it, and I'm just like, I can't spend an hour with that guy.
Right.
But the writing is fantastic, so
Yeah,
just to
I mean,
kind of.
right off the top, we think the writing's good, you express yourself really well, and we know who the characters are. We get good emotion out of this, and for me at least, I can see what they're doing, so the direction is very clear. So
Good
let's
visuals too.
let's look
the
at that
drumming
part,
and
like what,
Yes, if I
what are
could-
we, in
and the
terms
picking
of,
apart of the bread was really good
Yeah.
for
If I
Don.
could politely speak to the visuals, where's the bread go, I wrote? Does it go on the plate, on the table? She throw it over her shoulder? I need to know that.
Yeah,
And I
actually,
think you need
yeah.
some clasping of hands, that Pasternak. We need to hear the drumming, we need people to slam a table or touch one of the shoulders, and I'm not at the level of your playwriting or Matt's playwriting. I've written a few plays, I've directed community theater, what I call way off Broadway. But I wrote some stage directions because it'd be great to have someone cross the stage right to get to that liquor cabinet. You said he just goes and gets liquor.
Yeah.
I would like to know where they're seated at the table. Catherine and Hobbs come in. I need to know. They take 2 empty seats. Where are they? Are they next to each other? Are they apart? Are the seats set aside for them? Does Pastor have to then lean around when he says something to get Dinah's attention?
Yeah.
Is he whispering? And mouthing? If this is for a film, we can zoom in and get mouthing, but otherwise I would do a stage whisper so we know what he's saying when he's mouthing.
With all
So I
due
wrote you a
respect.
lot.
With all due oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I wrote you some notes. I just saw Awake and Sing, which is 1935, Clifford Odets show play at the Huntington. It was phenomenal. There was a family at a table, and
Huntington
they
in
were
Boston. I
In
just
Boston,
wanna
sorry,
clarify
yes. And they were at a table having a conversation. I was listening to the conversation, but someone crossed stage right to get a phone. Someone crossed stage left and put his hands on his lap and his head in his hands and his elbows on his lap, excuse me. And someone came over and put a hand on his shoulder to comfort him. And they're folding and unfolding napkins and they're pouring water from a pitcher. And as they're talking, there is movement. These people are very sedentary. Have them move. They don't need to jump and do cartwheels, but have them move and touch shoulders and shake hands. There are no handshakes when they meet, or clasp hands or hug. There was a peck on the cheek, but give it. It's all in your head. I know it's in your head, Carly, but
Needs
give
to be
us
on the
more
page, yeah.
detail on the page
Well,
so
those
the
are-
actors
Actually-
know what to do. Go ahead.
Let me disagree completely with that.
Dave often disagrees with me. Yes, dear.
For good reason.
Horse. Yes. You're a horse. Yes.
I've taken a couple of courses in playwriting. All the directions are necessary that you're talking about, but they're not on the page. The director takes the characters and figures out where this goes and what, because all stages aren't the same, all audiences aren't the same. There may be more distance, they maybe have to more grand the motions. But the director, at the time of production, instructs or asks the actors to investigate movement.
Absolutely. As a
if-
director, yes, when I blocked scenes, absolutely, I see that. I
But
do.
you, but you
I
don't,
do.
you don't fill up enormous parts of the play with very specific stage directions, because very often they don't work.
Well, here's what, with which I hope you do not argue. Catherine says, just open the door. They're in a hallway of a house, of an apartment building, I do not know, Carly, tell us. They're in a hallway, just open the door, but she can't just open the door, they need to knock at the door, because someone else needs to
They knocked on
open
the
said
black
door.
door.
I know, but she's saying just open the door.
No, she said, they
should
knocked on a
knock.
black door.
Yes, they did knock on the door, but before that, she says, just open the door. And I would think that would be from the interior, they're at the outside, and I need to know that. Little
I
things.
also found some things that, like continuity-wise, I wasn't sure about. And I'm not sure how much of this you have to nail down in a screenplay. I mean, presumably, at some point you show this to people, and I don't know how much of this stuff that they notice. But, you know, when Pasternak first opens the door, he has a cigar in his mouth. And we don't hear about that for the rest of the scene. And at some point, he starts smoking a joint. So
Yeah, so does he put it down at some
something
point?
Yes.
or- yeah.
happens.
Again, that's the director
Okay, that
blocking,
interpretation I can.
that's blocking out
Yes.
the play when they're on the stage.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
But also, just to make something clear, I don't know what your, what you want to do eventually. If you want it to be a stage play, then this works pretty well. If you want it to be a screenplay, then I think that's a horse of a different color.
I agree with
And so,
Matt.
if you want it to work
Yes.
for the screen, I think it has to be written completely different and the stage direction has to be more visual. And I think right now, as a stage play, it basically works, and there's enough movement, enough visuals to work. There's the drumming on the hands and the picking of the bread, and for it to work on the stage. But for a screenplay, I think it needs to be clear in the action description what people are doing visually and how they're acting. Because
Sure.
right now, when I read this, my immediate concern was there's just not enough action. It's like pages, and I think it goes even longer. It's in
Here,
one.
here, seated, they're seated
One,
mostly.
right, and they're seated, which is, if I'm a producer reading this, that's gonna be a major red flag. That being said, there have been a lot of movies that take place in one apartment
Oh, sure.
or whatever, and it works very well.
Yes.
But the acting has to be dead on, and acting has to be interesting. But as a producer, reading this or whatever, or anybody reading this, my concern would be, is this really gonna work cinematically? And I think, that all being said, there are interesting visuals, and I can even picture in my mind a sequence, but it's not here. In my mind, a sequence where they're smoking the joint, and then there's maybe a close-up of drumming on the table, and it's kind of trippy. It's getting trippier and trippier, and the
yes.
picking apart of the bread, and the lights are getting dim, and the
Yes.
music's coming on from out of nowhere. And so I visualize a trippy kind of sequence, psychedelic sequence there, where Hobbs and Catherine are exiting their kind of square world dimension, what they know, their structured world, and entering this very unstructured world, which maybe, I haven't read further, so that may be a good thing, or it may go too far and may just get crazy, but yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for cinema there, but it's not quite written here yet, so.
No, with every camera change, there's a scene, and every scene has its introduction in a screenplay, and that's necessary.
Yeah.
Because you have different cameras doing different things, and everything stops, and okay, take here, take here, take there. But if it's a stage play, which I think this sounds to me like a stage play.
Yeah, it's definitely written like one.
Then as things go, I'll repeat again.
She called it a screenplay, though.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, she did?
Yeah,
she
Okay.
did.
Well,
I mean, maybe-
There's not enough detail.
But
There's
But do you
not
say stage
camera
right
one.
for a movie?
No,
So
no,
she
that's.
does say stage right, so maybe it is a
It's definitely
stage.
written as
Yes,
a play, so,
yes.
but if her intention is to make it a screenplay, the wheel kind of has to be reinvented, it has to be done
Yeah.
completely differently.
Yeah.
But if that's your intention, but if you want to be
Yeah.
a stage play, then this
Yeah,
works
I
pretty
took it
well.
as a stage play.
Yeah,
Again, this is just a nit that I was curious about. On page 5 and about page 6, Pasternak refers to Mama, M-A-M-A-N, whatever that is.
Mama, that's French, yeah.
And I'm sure, somebody left me some cash somewhere and I could make a run. And then later on, unfortunately,
his
Mama
mom's
was not
apartment.
too keen on long-term visitors. I don't know who this means.
It's French for mom, and so she
I
owns
had to
the
look that up,
apartment. She
yeah.
is either lending it to him or she lives in
Okay.
a back room, I don't know.
If it's his mother,
Yes.
then I think that should be more obvious. I think
Okay.
I thought
He
he
was
was
being
being
pretentious,
sarcastic
No.
and saying, and referring to his wife.
Oh, I don't think.
No?
Maybe that's
I don't know.
clarified, because this
I
isn't the
don't know.
beginning, this is Act
Yeah.
2, so
Right.
maybe that's clarified
Could be.
earlier.
Yeah,
But
I
I
just
do-
wasn't sure what that meant. And that's the kind of thing, like, if you just change a couple words, and I think it's more clear to the audience who it is.
It's an ambitious undertaking, changing a novel into a screenplay. I do want to note, we're very impressed by that. And I like that what Matt's character Kennedy says, "Go," didn't you?
Yeah.
At one
Yeah,
point, so
that's
the
right.
title is
The title.
in the dialogue in this very scene. That was nice.
I want to know how old Kennedy is.
Yes.
Like, is he 27? And Catherine guesses at Dinah's age, 15, but I
Oh, I
want
want
to
to know. I thought they've been married 15 years. She's 15.
No, she's not.
yeah.
Oh,
No, also, I didn't know how she knew that.
Because it says,
I
but
just assumed.
she couldn't know, because the stage direction just says, in a pale, doe-eyed teenager.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Teenager could be a 13-year-old or a 19-year-old.
Yes.
Big
There's a
difference.
difference.
And
Yeah.
is Kennedy,
Right.
23?
Thank
Or is
you.
Kennedy
Right.
53?
Right.
With,
Right.
do you know what I mean? Like, it's, and in the 50s, it probably wasn't that big of a deal to have a 17-year-old with a 40-something. I don't know,
That's true.
but their ages would definitely add a sense of,
Is Catherine guessing that her age is 15, or does she?
Has to be.
I thought she was
Yeah, she's
guessing.
guessing.
Yeah,
I
but
think
there's no
she's
question
guessing.
mark.
She's
Yes,
guessing.
yes.
yeah. But I think that it should be specified Kennedy, because you describe
Yes.
Kennedy and you describe her, I would just give their ages, because that would have definitely have
then a few
either
lines
heightened
before that-
my level of disgust or not.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? That's what he's
Yes,
trying to do,
exactly.
right?
Yes. Yes.
When
what page
Kennedy
you on?
says, this is still page 6.
Yes.
2 years in the making, this one.
Yes. I asked what the girl in the
Yeah.
script.
Grooming
The
her.
girl in the script
he
is a
trying, like,
relationship,
is he a
yes.
pedophile and he was trying
Yes.
I mean, if
Lure
he's
her
15,
away
that
from
makes it
her
even
mother?
worse.
That means she was 13 when all of this
Yeah,
started?
like, did he introduce her to drugs to get her dependent?
Now again, Pauline over here, I thought maybe it was his script that was 2 years.
I didn't know what he was talking
Yeah,
about. I thought he was
maybe
talking
I
about
asked
I
which
know.
which, the girl or the script.
I didn't
Yeah.
Right there on page 6, yes.
Yeah, I was confused
question.
sometimes
Yeah, I was
about what they
confused.
were referring to.
And also, does Hobbs know that Kennedy came from California? Because he says,
That's a-
Yes,
I
I of
noticed
course
that.
came.
Donna,
When I
are you
said
from
came
California
California
too?
too.
So I don't know if he heard about Kennedy before in
Right.
like the first act or whatever, so I didn't know if that was clear somewhere, so just, keep an eye on that.
Well,
It's an ambitious undertaking.
yeah.
Vicious undertaking.
Taking, I know for a fact, it's very difficult taking a novel and making it into a play.
All right, who wants to summarize this one? I don't think I can do a good job.
You always do.
I don't know if I can this time.
I think I can say that, I think the characters are drawn terrific. The
Yeah.
dialogue
Yes.
really nails what they're like. I mean, I can just
Full
visualize
of
all of
ennui.
these people. Yeah, there's, and you also get the sense that, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Storm's coming.
And, with characters like Kennedy especially, and a little bit Pasternak, it's like, anything can happen with these people.
Kenny's a firecracker,
And,
yes.
and it's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
So that, that kind of hint is right here.
Yeah, they've left me with little hope of success in any of them. They really are.
Catherine has a steady job. I'm
Well, that's
I know.
good, yeah.
I'm fine for
Yeah,
Catherine.
yeah.
Well,
That's a lot.
that's just gonna make her fall even more.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
they'll take her
right.
down.
She just has longer to
Right,
fall.
right,
yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
So,
What about you? No.
No, I'm just curious to see which kind of world is, in the end, is shown as being the better world, the world of the structured post-war 9-to-5 job world, or, and at first I was like, oh, this is cool, Kennedy's improvisational and he's free, but is that gonna go too far? And apparently it does.
I think
Word
I know.
spin out,
I think I know
yeah.
what happens. It's not on here, but I think I read. I don't know if I
share.
should say
Yeah,
that.
well, I read, well, I did
Off
do
screen,
off screen.
I looked at I did some research on the book, and it does look like it just takes us down a spiral into, and to
I
the
don't
point
know if it
where.
ends like that, though. I don't think it ends.
Oh, no, I think
Say no more.
Hobbs eventually
I know I'm not supposed to
snaps
say
out of
anything.
it, but.
All right.
Well, the book is out, it's not like, I mean, the book
I
is
know.
out there, it's not
No
like,
major spoilers.
unless she's gonna change the ending, but.
Right, right.
Yeah, I keep on seeing Maynard G. Krebs. Does anybody know that reference?
What?
Maynard G. Krebs? Oh, you guys are too young.
just you and me.
Yeah, just you and me did. Yeah, this is Adobe Gillis.
Oh, I don't Toby Gillis.
Maynard G. He was the beatnik.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
What's his name? The
Whenever-
Gilligan's Island?
yeah, he's Gilligan.
Bob
Yeah.
Denver.
Oh, I know,
Bob
yeah,
Denver.
yeah,
Right,
sure.
Whenever somebody would say work.
I could sing that for you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're deviating. All right, so
So is my
Sorry, that's my
story.
job.
Give
So
me a
great
second.
job with the voice, stage direction,
Add some, but we made
Need
notes
some
for
more?
you.
Yeah.
We made notes.
and that will differ again based on whether you're doing a stage play or a screenplay.
True.
But overall, good job. Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
So,
Impressive.
Thanks, thanks to Matt for joining us.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome,
you.
and I'm
My
so
pleasure.
glad we
Good
had
luck
you
with
with
it.
us.
You read with
That's
such
right, good luck.
enthusiasm.
And thanks for submitting, and thank you everyone else for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of Fighters Infusion. Keep writing.
Now, I would
We
like
have to
to
do more
read Go, and I would like to read On the Road, Jack Kerouac. There are a lot of beatnik
Oh, God.
books.
Oh, my
God.
Just
Don't you-
Curious,
It
though.
was all done on one piece of paper.
Yeah, really.
It was just free flow, and I got lost. Really, I
That
just.
book is-
I could-
Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
Good luck to you on the college thing.
Thank you.
I wish I took one.
Like reeds in the breeze. Oh, my gosh.